Thank you. So how's everyone feeling? Good. How have you been doing for since the start of the new year and all? All right. Please remember, it's so easy just to kind of click through life, and let's just do the same old thing the next year. And people started this New Year's resolution concept, which is really great if you want to depress yourself. You're going to try it out and you're probably not going to do the most of the things, as they say, studies tell you most New Year's resolutions fail. But why? I mean, we should have New Year's resolutions. We should have affirmations for our new life. We really should. But they shouldn't be beyond our reach. Why even say you're interested in doing something if you're not? Wait till you're dedicated to it. Don't put out goals. And then some people would say, I won't even do any of them. See, that's depressed. And then those who overly do it are anxious. You see? If you're overly anxious, you're going to set high goals because you're ambitious, type A or whatever, and you're going to want to go for it. But you're probably not going to be able to keep them. So the anxiety is going to crash. It's going to cause you to crash. But the other is the depressed. I don't even have the energy to come up with a single New Year's resolution. Someone's got to take control of this life. That picture, Krishna, with the 4 horses in front of him. Take control of your human self. The 4 base chakras, the 4 torso chakras. Take control of your life. You don't have to go ambitious here, just something. If you don't, how weird that life is going to be the same, which is, humans have done this for a long time. What are you going to do when you go back to Earth this time? I don't know, probably the same old thing. It's not only every year, it's every lifetime. It's kind of weird. Can you imagine going to somebody like Edgar Cayce? I could have a life reading? Yes. You pretty much did nothing every lifetime throughout history. Wow. It's strange. The concept of every year supposed to be better, but not ambitiously so. Internally, in consciousness, we should feel more, first of all, connected, more plugged in to God. With that, we should feel more inspired. The word inspired means in the spirit. So if you are plugged into God, you never hear me tell you how to do that. I mean, guidelines, sure, suggestions, but not, you never hear me say, go Buddhist, go Hindu, do it this way, do it. I don't care if it's 12-step work you do or Buddhist work you do. Just do something to plug in. If you say, this year I feel more plugged in because I'm mixing a little recipe of, I do some 12-step work and I do a little of such and such, and I do your daily communion exercises, Michael, great. Whatever works. I'm not the type that ever got into try something and do it for a year, tell everybody it's the best ever, and then switch it to something else the next year. If it's that good, why did you switch? So I really feel good sustainability in myself. That what I do, I can feel is right. And then I kind of use it forever because it's the best. It's the best meditation. Edgar Cayce was asked, what's the best meditation? He says, the one you'd use. I mean, how could you get more practical than that? What's the best spiritual book? The one you actually read. So it brings us down to earth, right? Like, come on. What's actually going to make a difference in your life? So that's really important. Don't let the next year be the same as the last year. I have this phrase that I use, best ever. And I really encourage it to people. Like when you want to change your life, it's something to be said about needing to heal the old patterns. How are you going to improve your life if the old patterns are still sort of stuckness, right? I'm still sort of stuck in the old patterns of doing what I used to do, thinking the way I used to think, still believing and feeling the way I used to. Something's not right. So healing the old stuff is absolutely essential. But you also have to refill with something new. You can't just forever talk the old stuff out. Where's the new? And the way to embrace the new year, new life, new whatever it happens to be, the 2 main tools I'll say. 1, learn the power of gratitude. And I don't just mean gratuitous. I mean true gratitude. Like, wow. You see, humans have this thing about them, just like with dating, where they're waiting, is that Mr. Right? Is who Mr. Right? That guy over there. That's your neighbor. Yeah, but, and he's married. Yeah, but, stop. People keep assigning things to people that they can't live up to, and then they crash. Oh, I'm going on this new diet. That's amazing, by the way. Turn on TVs. It's the weirdest thing. I know you must have seen this a lot, but I still sit in my living room. I'm like an old man. I am old, but I'm like an old man. I walk around, laughing at the stuff they try to sell people on TV. Oh, come on. I talk to myself. I find myself talking to myself because there's these commercials. There's this new, oh, thanks to such and such, I lost 10 pounds. None of it's true. You see, this is all an illusion. One Greek philosopher said, I didn't know there were so many things I didn't need. First of all, there's a diet. They're going to sell you on, if you only do this, you're going to lose 10 pounds. But first they're telling you, who's determining you're overweight? Who decides that? So they'll tell you, and they use pictures. Here's what you should look like, and you don't. But if you just do this that we're telling you to do and selling you, this will work. And there's all these strange things that happen if you take this for too long. Do this, you'll lose 10 pounds, but don't take it if you have hair. Like it's the weirdest thing. We don't recommend this if you have skin. So why is all this happening, guys? Find what works for you and enjoy it. Do what you enjoy and enjoy what you do. Not to get on other people's tangents. If you choose an exercise program, don't go with fads. Go with what feels right for you. A blend of cardiovascular, a blend of yoga. Just find what you enjoy. If you're at the gym, there's a study that was done a long time ago. A study that was done. And they figured if you exercise regularly, let's pretend it's an hour a day. Okay? If you exercise an hour a day, the studies prove that you will extend your life by, let's pretend it's 2 years. However, the 2 years is the same amount of time you were at the gym, if you add up the hours. So technically, if you don't like working out, you prolonged your life. You didn't extend it. If you like going to the gym, you extended your life. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Like, you should be doing what you enjoy. If you're at the gym, hating it, but if I don't, I'll gain weight. Stop hating yourself. Enjoy. Who are you? And come out into that. But if you go to the gym and you do some exercise and you feel good, remember those words, best ever. This is the best exercise I have ever found. Now, why am I saying that? This is sounding like coaching. Best ever. No, I'm saying that we have to get used to owning the good in our lives. Don't just go, this is kind of a decent relationship. If it's only kind of, why are you in it? Well, Michael, come on. I mean, you can't expect much more than this. That's what people tell me. Counseling every day of every week for so many years. This is the kind of mindset people are in. Well, you can't expect better. So you better stop that. First of all, if I were the other person, I'm gone. I'm not interested in, hey, listen, you seem so-so. Would you like to get together? That doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, I'm really craving some so-so food. Let's go out and have some so-so kind of lunch. It doesn't make sense to me. Why aren't people saying, this food, this is the best such and such, whatever the food is? Why settle? And if it is great, own that it's great. Own it. Because gratitude is one part. Seeing things and going, thank you. I'm seeing my progress. Thank you. Nice job, Michael or whomever it happens to be. Nice job. That's important. Thank you. The other piece that people forget, use this concept. This is the best ever. Well, you know what? Wow. This is the best ice cream I've ever had. You know what? Thanks for taking me here. This is the 7th best ice cream I've ever had. I don't want to take you to the 7th best ice cream place. Do you see what I'm saying? This could go into a comedy skit if I wanted to, because it's so insane. Listen, how was that? We made love and that was really beautiful. Yeah, I have to tell you, this was about the 16th best experience I've ever had with a lover. Wow. It's not that I'm talking about competing and comparing. I'm just saying, don't get into doing things that don't feel like wow to you. Wow. It's not like it has to be perfect by human standards, but if there's not a factor of wow, like when you live with somebody, and please don't start divorcing over this conversation, but when you're living with somebody, notice how I'm looking up there and not at anybody here, because then it'll be like, he looked at me when he said that. So think about this. It's people live in the same house together, and they wake up, they lose that concept of excitement of who they're going to see when they wake up. That's the strangest thing. I think that anybody I've ever been in a partnership with, it feels generally, even in rough times, generally I had a certain happiness inside when I would see them again, or even just close friends, right? I don't just go, oh, friends. To me, I feel joy to run into friends or to connect with friends or whatever it happens. Why have friends you're like, oh God, they're calling, Why have friends like that? I feel a certain kind of an excitement. And I might seem like I'm from outer space to say these things. Some people might say, Michael, this people, come on, man. People get tired and I know they do, but you don't have to. Why would you write a book and say, I've just written a book. This was my life dream. I just finished. It's probably the 110th best book ever. It doesn't make sense. Don't write a book if it's not going to be great. Don't start a diet program that isn't great. Don't start doing anything that doesn't feel wonderful. Unity of Sedona. Do you see that you like it? And do you feel like this is some powerful stuff? Excellent. If you go, it's okay, I guess. I don't really listen when I go. So-and-so brings me, so I go along, because they'll get mad if I don't. So I just go and so. Roger, I wasn't trying to implicate you. She drags you along. No, but honestly, see the value of things. Do you own a car that is the model that you think is the best car? See, so everything on the outside is not just a symbol. First of all, they're not just meant to be the illusions that they are. See that they have a symbolic meaning. So they symbolize something inside. So when you say, here's Michael, I'm this much space I take up, oracally, however much, but here I am. We think we end right where our skin ends. Technically, you got to throw in the car, the house, the kids, whatever. These other things in our lives are parts of ourselves. You are not just having a job, you are your job, even if you don't own the business. All the things you think you just do are a part of yourself. So technically, you look in the mirror and you just see this, but realistically, truly, you're like this. The things you do, the exercise program that you're on reflects you. And if it doesn't work, that means that you allow things that don't work to be part of you. Think of them as actually inexorably connected to you. How proud are you of that car? Well, I have this kind, but I wish I would have gotten that kind. A dear friend of mine, for some reason, the subject came up and he was saying, oh man, I so wanted this type of car and I knew it was but I ended up with this other one instead. And I knew it wasn't going to last. It was like a year he already traded in. God only knows how much money he would have lost in a car that he only had for months. But so you take a loss, but why? Everything is reflecting yourself. So when you have a job when you've written a book, these are parts of yourself floating out here in an energetic body. And they represent you. You wrote a book that's kind of Why? That means this is You have relationships that are like this. That means this person is like this. Why do I want to keep doing that? Is that what I want to bring to the world? Really? Is that what I'm choosing to say? Here I am. Now we think we're saying, here I am, just this person here. You're saying, here I am. And that means your car, your job, everything. When they say take pride in your work, that's something people have forgotten. It's not just pride in your work, it's because it's you. So if you do work that's kind of so-so, you're saying, I don't care about me. I'm a person who's just unplugged, lost, floundering. And you can tell by my work because I don't try real hard. You see what I'm saying? Best ever. Imagine that the work you do. I remember when I was a kid and helping somebody working in a pizza place. And it was really amazing. It's a simple thing. You're just making a pizza, right? But everything you do is reflecting you. And when you do things just halfway, it means I don't care. And why would you think other people are going to care about that if you don't care? I want people to get me, you could say to yourself. I'm ready. I want people to get me. When I show up, best ever, I want to find my favorite restaurant because it is the best one I could find. It's great. Instead of complaining about it if you don't like it, find what is the best so that you have the best. Go find it if you don't know, if you don't believe it's there yet, find it. Do something to create something you could call the best. Now, the best might be a 10 to you on a 0 to 10 scale, but maybe you find one later that is more of a 10. Great. But just start living up here instead of down here. Well, I can't expect very much. You know how the world is and the way people are. Don't settle for a so-so contractor. Best ever. Wow, I found someone. They show up on time. You see, like positives. Let people know where you're coming from so that they can help match what you're looking for. If you don't know, like Cheshire Cat says to Alice, she says to him, which road should I take? He said, that depends where you want to go. She goes, I don't know. He said, then it doesn't matter. Which road you take? Think about that. If you don't have any kind of direction, I'm talking about consciousness. If you don't have any kind of direction in terms of what am I about, the world can't match it. The world can't bring you anything. And then we complain or we just depress. This is the way life is. Grab hold. Think of something. What is the best ever that you've got in your life now? This is the best relationship I have ever had. Now, if you say to me, the person I'm with is about the 6th or 7th best relationship I've ever had, I would tell you to tactfully tell them that and end it. Okay? Tactfully. Meaning don't blame them. Just if it's not working, it's not working. But maybe you call it something else. Maybe you're great as friends. Maybe you're great as intimate friends, but not as more. Then just take it back a notch. It's not that you have to end everything. Turn it into something, though, that makes good sense. Whatever that may be. What do you think with music bands? With music bands. The best-selling album for most musician bands are their greatest hits. Why? Because that's the best ever. That's the best songs that publicly and popularity-wise. Those are the best songs of theirs. So people love those. Go to that place where you find, and if you don't find it, change what you're doing. But go to that place. Best ever. I feel better than I've ever felt. Why? What are you doing that's right? And really enjoy it and give thanks for it. You could have all kinds of other options. You could have some really terrible things happening in your life. So don't just get by and wipe your brow and go, thank God, today wasn't as horrible as yesterday. That's not the way to live. Best ever. Soak it in. Yes. It's really amazing to say to yourself, I want to do the best ever talk that I've ever done. I want to release the best song. That's my best poem. Like that. If you see best was 10 years ago and nothing can compare, something's going to descend. You follow what I'm saying? Something's going to collapse. I saw an interview with Bob Dylan once, and I've shared this before, but I remember him saying, wow, man, he's just a funny guy the way he talks, but, well, man, hey, man, and he goes, well, I remember all my music, man, all the deep lyrics, man. Listen, like that one that went da-da-da-da-da. He's going, man, that's just so deep. I could never do that again. Not a good statement. I mean that. If he were sitting with me going, Michael, I want to have a session with you, man, I'd go, dude, best ever, come on. Go into it. No, I can't ever reach that again. That's a person that's going into depression. Find something to live for. This is like, chronologically, this is a new year. Don't go in and have the same year as last year. What is the best ever? And own it. Wow, that's the best book I've ever read. Go and read the best books. Listen to the best music. Oh, you can't really call things best, and you think that's an intelligent statement. What you're doing is you're trying to escape owning that something's good in your life. When you say, oh, I don't call things best because that, I don't live like that, that's kind of a judgmental thought. I'm telling you, you're trying to escape ownership. I'm asking you, when you say it was great, you're owning a positive moment. You see what I'm saying there? You're owning, oh my God, instead of, well, that was okay, I guess. Wow, oh my God, that was amazing. It's so cool to live like that. It's so cool to live where you say, and things are amazing. I know that for some people, some things don't seem amazing, but find something that is, wrap your mind around it, own it, soak it in. 9 things in my life aren't going well, you could say, but 1, amazing, great. Let's get that and let's build it up. Let's inflate it. Let's, get the bellows of gratitude and fan it into a flame. So if you have one area that's working and any area of your life that's not working well, rating on a 0 to 10 scale, anything that's rating a 3, a 4, a 2, it's going to cause some sort of collapse. It's going to become an illness. It's going to become a something in your life. I wouldn't recommend letting that go for too long. But when you have something that's, you claim 7, 8, 9, how much are you owning? Is it just there passively, or are you really owning it? Are you really saying, God, I can't even tell you. When you talk to your friends and they say, how's things going? I can't even tell you. Oh my God, I'm practicing. This is the best yoga for me. I'm doing what feels like the best yoga. Don't just go, I'm doing yoga. Is it or is it not wonderful yoga that you found? If it isn't, why are you doing it? Let's find one that makes you brag about it in a healthy way. Your foods. Oh, I'm on another diet. I don't even want you to tell me about it. You're already depressing me. Just the way your demeanor. Your shoulders are all dropped. Yeah, I'm on another diet. It's like, oh my God, something magical's happening in my life. Dating, connection with people, conversation. When you go to a counselor, a body worker, crystal bed, whatever, different kinds of things, sound therapy, sound healing, and you go, wow, that was about the 14th best. Stop. How can we create better? Let's go and get that is the best massage I've ever had, and then schedule it regularly. Own the goodness in your life. I'm saying this because people don't realize how often they brush it, just sweep it under the rug. People don't want to own goodness. People will definitely talk when things are horrendous. Oh my God, terrible. How can you say this is the worst relationship I've ever had so easily, but not own the best? How come I don't hear that as often? How come I hear about, wow, oh my God, I just had the worst conversation ever, blah, 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 whatever it happens to be, right? People have no problem owning what was the worst in their life. How come you don't have an equal or more amount of the best ever? And it's because human beings have become so patterned in depression. There's a part of us that says, why bother? Even if it's good, something's going to come and take it away anyway. And that's a program that people have. So what I'm saying is, see that that's a lie. Prove it wrong. This is absolutely the best car I've ever owned. Nice, nice. If it's not, let's go for one that is. This is the best relationship I've ever owned or, experienced. This is the best intimacy. This is the best. Find some areas in your life and own them. And you deserve to own them. But if you do, if you breathe it in like, wow, your energy level, your demeanor, your posture will pick up. When you start seeing that you've got some bests in your life. But please be responsible enough to note where you are finding ways to undermine that. I'm just asking you to be honest with yourself. Do you see areas where you go, yeah, but? As soon as you do that, well, yeah, it's it might have been the best, but, and you do that, be careful. Sometimes there's reasonable reasons for that, but be careful. What you might be doing is undermining yourself, constantly pulling the rug out from yourself. It's like, I can't allow myself to be too happy. I can't allow myself to be too at peace or prosperous or whatever the case may be. People see movies. Do you know what your best ever movies are? You should. Do you know what your best ever intimate experience was? You should. Do you know what your best ever foods are? Or restaurant or whatever? Do you know? You should know what those are. And then don't just go. Sit and, like for me, there's not a lot of foods I eat. But when I eat foods, they've got to be good. They've got to be good. My God, it's like I don't just go, oh, yeah, great. This is really cool. Long day working today, lots of hours, counseling and so on and so on and so on. Now I think I'm going to go find something that'll just get by food-wise. Don't you ever go, oh my God. That's me, like a kid. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going in for a grilled cheese sandwich, man. I'm going in. Let me make sure I have several tubs of butter because I'm going to need them. I'm going in, right? I love what I eat. I really do. And I sit there and sometimes just, wow, God, that was delicious. And I see some people eating like it's a duty. I have to eat this. Especially if you're eating what somebody told you had to eat. Well, I have to eat from all the food groups, or I have to eat, don't forget your peas, or forget it. So where are you at with this? Where are you at? Just tune in for a moment. Where are you at with this? How many things in your life are the best evers? The ones that aren't, change what you can and accept what you can't. Change what you can, accept what you can't. Step in and say, can I bring this into another level? Can I bring this into a level of, like exciting and wonderful? If not, then why? There's times when I've taken a book and reading a book and I'm like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And I'm reading, and I'm waiting for it to change. Now I'm on like page 350. There's a point where you're allowed to go, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to become a best ever book. It might be a bestseller for someone else. It's just not for me. And let it go. But I paid $20 for it. Read it a little bit next time first, or research it or whatever. But can you get to a place where you feel better than you've ever felt? Can you get to a place? Look at your life in like Unity of Sedona, just as a quick example. Unity of Sedona, I've traveled the world. I really have. Centers, spiritual centers, yoga centers, science of mind centers, Unity Center, all kinds, Edgar Casey's place, Theosophy, all these different places I've traveled and done talks and lectures or whatever. But all that time, I call this assembling a new life. Assembling. Humans keep waiting for Mr. Right. You assemble Mr. Right, which sounds weird. Like, that sounds like Frankenstein, Michael. You assemble means I've learned what I needed to learn about negatives and about myself, and I learned what positives I'm looking for. I'm assembling a relationship instead of, hi, listen, nice to meet you. Let me interview you real quick. So do you like, do you like walking in the rain? Do you like this? Do you meditate? You don't meditate. Okay, never mind. Like, instead of doing that, I totally know what I'm about. I totally know what I'm about. You could say to yourself, I get it. I know what I'm about and what I'm not about. So if someone enters my airspace, here's what I can offer. How does that work for you? Knowing yourself. No promises of things you can't do and vice versa. But it's like, know yourself. So I know what's going to be right for me, foods, and go for the ones that work for you, but in relationships too. Unity of Sedona, with all my traveling, I knew there are things, if ever I were to sit in one place and have a center, it's got to be deeply spiritual. I only want the best ever music. And it doesn't mean someone's out there that we're saying isn't good because they're not here. We may not know about them. But the ones that do come here, they're the best I've heard in my life. You understand? Our prayers, the way we do our services, it's the best ever. I've been to church services, spiritual centers, new thought centers. I've been to places where they've said, okay, Michael, here's our program. We're going to have like 20 minutes of music, 10 minutes of lectures. You get 5 minutes to talk. And I'm like, then I'm not interested in going there. See, they have different perspectives, different values. I'm here to teach. Use me while you can. So this is like the best ever when we do our talks, the gong, when we ring the gong, how? Sacred readings. I tell the folks that are going to do the sacred readings, you don't need my approval, sacred readings. You can pick them, give a few choices, a few options, but I want you to pick best ever. Best ever. Go for not just blah, 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 quotes. God, there are spiritual centers. Today we're going to read from such and such a book or magazine, the quote, faith. Faith is, and then it's just like people are already asleep. I want you to find something that inspires you. You can feel the Spirit of God in what you're reading. Like I want living. The quotes have to have fire in them. Like light, bright light. So you hear the quotes that we do. Fantastic stuff. They ask if they can use quotes from me. No, don't use quotes from me. Use quotes that are the Christ consciousness that you've come across. Yogananda, White Eagle, etc. It only needs to be congruent, like to me, in that it's into Christ consciousness. But I don't care where it's coming from. Course in Miracles, whatever it happens to be, Ernest Holmes, it's fine. But the best ever. I never want them to give a quote that's like so-so. See what I'm saying, guys? Best ever. Are you doing that? I know to some people they go, that sounds tiring, that you're always having to work at it. Once you know who you are, this becomes very natural. Because you say when you know who you are, you won't settle. So the best ever starts to become very natural. Because I'm not going to settle. You don't have to go and search it and make it all happen. You get this together, and then that's what you start going for. That's the good news to it. So think about this. If you're going to have Christmas, try to have the best ever Christmas. If you're going to have a, Halloween party, best ever. How can you make that the best ever? And if it's not going to be the best ever, you learn to let those things go. I'm going to get a car. Is it the best ever? Whether it's the payments, they need to be, affordable, the color, the vibe, the whole vibe. Everything out here is a mirror of me. They're part of me. So I want them to reflect me. And I'm not a so-so person, so I don't want so-so things in my life. So when we do talks at Unity of Sedona or whatever, I go for it. It's like we don't, let's do a so-so talk. It doesn't make any sense. The average human being would never admit that they allow so-so in their life. But when you do an inventory, you realize all too often that you have. That's kind of disturbing, which is why it is said that when you get on the path and search for the truth, your oneness with God, you find yourself more often disturbed than at peace. Because before you find the connection with God, you find all the disconnections. And that's having to have an honest look at yourself. I'm living a life of just so constantly. I can see where foods are so. I watch so movies. I watched a movie last night. Really, how was it? It was all right. Then why'd you watch it? Watch things that really turn you on, things that inspire you. Go to spiritual centers that really flip your switch. So try this on for size, okay? Take it a bit of an inventory and see where you're at. If you look at this, where are you at? God, in every category of life, work, I think I'm going to start this new year and start looking for best evers. Not yet where I'm going for best evers. First, give thanks for the best evers you've already created. If you haven't owned those and you don't tend to own them and give thanks for them, then manifesting a new one today is going to go right in one ear and out the other. Not owned. Wow, that was wonderful. Oh, anyway, I'm moving on. We need you to sit still long enough to go, oh my God. Do you understand that your foods digest better when you love them? When you go, that was delicious, instead of, I probably shouldn't have eaten that. It's going, whoa, we didn't do anything, man. Why are you mad at us? Best ever. Best ever. I mean that. I mean, look for it. I was telling Janine, who designed our ads and so forth for Unity of Sedona, I didn't go, that's a beautiful job, Janine. It's about the 5th best ad I've ever seen for Unity of Sedona. Why would I want that? It's got to be the best. That is the best. We've got the best admins we've ever had, the best this and that and the other. I mean, this is how we work here. Just keep going for things that are yes, this is very cool. But this isn't about motivating. This is about a deeper statement, guys, which is when you're not going for the best ever, it's because you're undermining yourself. You're allowing yourself slow destruction. You're being unplugged, and you're allowing that to be good enough. There's something deeper that's happening when you don't own, oh my God, this is the best ever such and such, whatever it is. Wow, living in that like childlike, wow, this is exciting. Treat yourself like you would if you loved your children and you were gifting them things. Every Christmas, I was like, how are we going to one-up last year? I always did that when my kids were little. It was like, oh, this is going to be great. Always something is surprising. Always something cool, right? Always, it was amazing. This tree, all these boxes of, it was so cool for them to be able to wake up, and find such color, all these packages, wrappings, and whatever, This is how it can be for all of us. So we close with this idea. God makes us in its image. We're supposed to be able to fly in every way, shape, and form. We're supposed to be able to be like, thriving. And some people say, well, Michael, you're a little too positive like that. Michael, there needs to be bad days too, or you won't appreciate the good days. Let me tell you, which is okay if you say that, but that's weird. Because if you're the type that says you have to have bad days so you appreciate good days, you know what you just said? I have to have bad days. Who said you can't just have good days and appreciate them? Who's the one that started that? That's the ego. That isn't God. So I can go from having good to great. I don't have to reach bottom by crashing. I can just say, today's my bottom, and it's a 7. And I'm going to go to an 8 and a 9. I don't have to go to a 1. Just take everything higher. Love it, appreciate it. And if it's not what you want, stop it, change it, do something different. Okay? Everything to say. It's just that saying, change what you can, accept what you can't. Let's go to a higher place. Best ever. This is the most well-organized project I've ever done. This went so smoothly. Like volunteer day. Wow. Look how easy that was. Go for that. Don't just do things, even if they're positive things, don't just do them. Own how wonderful they were. Please, please, own how wonderful they were. You get that, and more will be given, as the scriptures tell us, okay? Own the good, more will be given. Please take a couple centering breaths. As we're centering for just a moment into the deepest part of our being, into our heart and soul, that's where the temple of God is found. Peace, peace. Think of any category of your life. Let the Holy Spirit or Divine Mother help you. Think of any area of your life that clearly is not the best ever. Why is that? Why is it not the best ever? Meaning, it's okay, just be clear and honest. Well, because this is snagged or this is a problem, whatever it is. Watch how you could try to make excuses for it. Well, it's not the best ever because I'm aging or because da-da-da-da-da. Whatever it happens to be, just see it because they're just excuses. Why is something not the best? In what way is it not the best ever? Health, finances, relationships, partnerships, work, car. Why would I settle? Why would I allow this to last for more than a day, being what it is? Answer spontaneously in your mind. Why haven't I not yet made this the best ever? Well, because it can't be. Or I would need other people to, or ... fill in the blank. How is it not the best ever? And why would you have that in your life? How could you try to change it and why haven't you? Good. Just an honest survey. Now, in your imagination, make believe you can see the image of this if it were the best ever. What would need to happen? Things would have to shift around, statements would have to be made, I would have to do this or that. How can you make this the best ever, whatever it is? Don't worry about how to go and make it happen outside. Inside the imagination, first get your mind owning what it would need to be the best ever. What would need to happen to make this the best ever? I mean, it's your imagination, so you can do anything. Even if it seems impractical or there's no way that this could happen, just play with it, see it. Imagine that it's there. Now, you've assigned what would need to happen to make it the best ever. The assignment you just gave, is it, in your opinion, impossible to get that to happen? If it is, then it might be something you need to retire and let go of. Or is it within reason that it can get there? You already know what it needs. Stop living as the victim of it being half dead. You know what it needs to resuscitate, to come to life. Is it something that you can pull off? If you don't think it is, you can let it go. And in letting it go, it can become the best ever of whatever it was. That was as good as it was going to get. At least you gave it the best it could be. It's one of the values of accepting what you can't change is in releasing it, it still becomes a positive. It's not what you would have hoped, we know. But instead of living with it, like living with a corpse, it's release it. It can't be resuscitated. Best ever. So we close, look at your life, and see if there's one or two areas that are the best ever. Your look, your health, your spirituality, your spiritual center. An album you own, that's the best album I've ever heard. I mean, own it, see it, enjoy it. Find something, best ever. And if you can name one or two things, do your homework and try to turn it into 10 or 20. Best evers. It's hard to be depressed. It's hard to be unmotivated and uninspired when you have the best ever in your life. Gradually, feel a sense of gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Best ever. And I use the word brilliant. I'll say to board members or the folks when they're volunteering and helping to create the bookstore like we did the last couple of weeks, they'll come up with these ideas and I say, my God, that's brilliant. I don't just go, oh, that's a nice idea. I believe in that word. I believe it. I'm not just saying it. I go, oh my God, that's brilliant. Brilliant to me means win-win scenarios. It means you had an insight. You brought something through and we implemented it. Best ever is like that. Best ever. How are you feeling? Let's just anchor this in a bit more. A nice deep song. Just eyes can still stay closed at least for a moment. If you decide to open them, fine, but at least for a moment, feel the song and not just hear it.
Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from death to immortal life. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Asatoma satgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. And forgive and live, forgive and live, forgive and live, forgive to the real. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from death to immortal life. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Oh Lord, lead me from the unreal to the real. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from death to immortal life. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Oh Lord, lead me from the darkness to the light. Happy to announce that I've came out with my brand new best album ever. It's called Flow Like the River, and if you're online watching, you can stream it on all the online platforms, and if you're here in person, there's those vintage discs called CDs, and I still have those, and they're out in the lobby.
Vintage. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael.
See, it doesn't feel so, right? I mean, in so many ways we can create good things, but what I was saying today in part was own that you've done it. Don't just have good and let it float by. Please, own you've done it. And if you don't own it, I'm telling you, there's a disturbing reason why you're not. It's not just an accident or coincidence. When you don't own that, wow. I mean, did you feel the vibe? Even as he paused, he stopped at the end, eyes closed. There was a moment to absorb. It's like, wow. I would never have read a book or studied with a person that wasn't like the best ever. Best ever, again, not in a competition. If we have volunteer day, I'm not supposed to show up and go, I'm going to be the best volunteer. Like competing with the others, I'm going to be the best I can be today. I don't know about where you're at. I'm just going to be what I can be. If you're a counselor, I wouldn't want somebody to come to me and say, hi, I'm calling you because somebody else wasn't available. Which is okay, because that happens. But see, I'm encouraging you. See the best healer, the best counselor, the best doctor. Get the best physicians. Get the best lawyers. Whatever you're doing in your life, try not to settle. A lot of people's struggles and confessions about challenges in their life were simply because they didn't choose to create better. We can do it, but we have to step up. It's an amazing thing if you think about it. God says, I'm now going to pour upon you gold dust worth billions. Are you ready? Yes, I am. Here it comes, this waterfall of gold dust, and we hold up a thimble to catch it. I'm here, Lord. Yep. Wow. We're good. Doesn't make any sense. Like, man, open this, catch it. Like, get a wheelbarrow. Do something a little more. No, because somebody will just want to steal it. If I have too much good, I'll be noticeable. It's all right, man. Be really good. Just be good. Be the goodness of God in whatever you do. We're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. It'll only take a couple minutes. When you know that you're not living at the best you could live, guys, believe it or not, part of you knows that. Part of you knows what the best looks like, right? And part of you doesn't want you achieving the best. But part of you knows this. Part of you knows what the best could look like. And another ego part is, let's settle. So think of it this way. But you know this on some level. You know that you're not doing it. What that does inside is it creates conflict. Because I know what I should be, but I'm not. And it creates conflict. Conflict then results in stress. And stress is the number one reason for illness. I choose not to be conflicted. I want to walk in this wonderful experience, the best ever. God, yes, the best chiropractor I've ever had. Have that. One day somebody passes away, Oh, I had the best ever. You did, and it's here. Thank God I've got that. Wow. Now create another best ever. Right? Keep going for what you know to be the best. When we got our new building here, it's like we wanted a building that was going to have, and it's almost twice the room for chairs. It's wonderful. It's the best store we've had, the bookstore organized, whatever. Best volunteers. It's like wonderful. That's how we roll. But that's the vibe overall. I wouldn't want to come and attend here if people were saying this is the 15th best of anything. It's really, we do what we can to keep this optimal kind of vibration, right? So you get that when you show up here. There's a vibe you can feel, and it's like the music is never, God, I saw something movie or a show the other day that showed some music in a spiritual church or whatever the scene was in a movie, and I thought, thank God, we have like Ananda, because it was just so old school and strange to watch it. It was like foreign to me to see some people up there just kind of just doing songs. It's disconnected. We want the musicians to come here and say, how can I be in the best frequency possible? Now, not all centers asking them to do that. So some of them get used to just playing blah. And that wouldn't be the type of people we want. We want them to plug in. We want them to say, something wonderful can happen here today. Not just playing a song at you. I'll never forget the last gig Cat Stevens ever did in his earlier years. The end of his career. He went out, he was playing at the audience, he was irritated, he was agitated. Partway through the concert, he just unplugged and walked off the stage. He was feeling so conflicted. Something was happening in him spiritually, and he didn't like this thing where he's just playing his same songs over and over. So he took it out on the audience. Just like, I don't care about you. And he unplugged, walked off. It doesn't matter that they paid for tickets. That was that stuff in us that blows up. He wasn't feeling this is the best concert I've ever done. You see, and best again, it's not compete, compare. It's a vibe. It's an overall feeling. And it took him years to ever want to do that again. And if you have heard him at all now, there's a beautiful spirit to what he's doing when he goes back, even and does his old tunes. You know, he's more integrated. So please stand for our closing prayer. Please remember, Ananda has his products in the foyer out there. And you can also find him online. Those of you who are watching streaming of our program, you can find his products. He's got several CDs, but he does have a new one that's out. Ah, gratitude. This was wonderful. See, it doesn't have to literally be compared or competed. This was wonderful. Own it. The presence of God. So grateful that I go to a center and watch a program, a presentation, where God is made the primary focus. That the music sings of oneness and love of God. This is so good. Love it. Breathe it in. This shows me how far I am on my spiritual path, that I get these wonderful things and no settling. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. God bless you, and thank you so much.